Okay, I try to say what is the difference between model code 2010 and the model code 2020 in terms of the conservation. In fact, the conservation include many various technical activities, including intervention. In fact, yes, this is some kind of the summary of the conservation, assessment of existing structure, intervention of existing structures. Yeah, what I wanted to say is, yeah, as you know, Model Code 2020, we integrate new structures and existing structures so that we have the really new technical component. This is the thing assessment existing structure and intervention existing structure, especially anything related to existing structures are new technical contents of MC 2020. Why? Why you push works, but I don't.
Have the magic finger. Is it changed?
Oh, it's changed already. Okay. Then, yes, I try to talk about the conservation briefly and the intervention most of the time. Oh, yes, it's okay. This is the, yes, part of the conservation. Yeah, conservation, that was a new part of the Model Code 2010. Then Model Code 2020, yeah, basically we continue the same technical contents, but we have some differences. First thing is the life cycle management concept. This is yes, more newly implemented 2020, and it covers all the chapters, including conservation. And also in the conservation, we also added durability planning in parallel of the conservation planning. And the monitoring, yes, just Alfred made a presentation. We also include this part. This is the monitoring and the condition survey in a way it's presented in parallel. Yes. Then this workflow for the conservation, this is basically same as the Model Code 2010. Yes, starting from the, I mistyped, conservation or durability planning, then condition survey and monitoring. This is a stage to collect the necessary information data. Then based on that collected information data, we have to make assess what is the deterioration mechanism and the damage identification. Then eventually, this is somehow most important part, we have to have the performance evaluation at this moment, but also which may include prediction of the performance in the coming futures. Then based on that evaluation result, we have to make a decision making. Then we have so much varieties as a result of the decision. Then intervention is one of the options. Yeah, I just want to show the some main concept of the conservation. Yeah, we have the three conservation category: the proactive conservation and reactive conservation and the no conservation measure. Well, for some structures, practically we cannot have any conservation, such as the underground structures. Then, based on those different type of the conservation, we have a different way of the condition survey or monitoring. Then I come to the intervention part. This is something new section or chapters directly related to intervention, starting from the material and system for protection, repair, and upgrading, and execution of the interventions, then life cycle activities, including intervention works. So it's spread various chapters in Model Code 2020. And this is somehow the intervention workflow, general workflow. starting from decision making, once we say we have to have some interventions, then we have to start the intervention work. The beginning, and also this is the most important and difficult part, selection of appropriate intervention method. Then once you choose some appropriate method, we need somehow additional condition survey, which is information which is necessary particularly for particular intervention method. Then followed by the design of the interventions and execution of interventions. Then even after we make an intervention, we also continue conservation, considering apply the intervention methods. The material system for intervention is all the information can be implemented. Yes, this is intervention strategy, somehow related to the conservation strategy. Maintenance intervention, preventive intervention, remedial intervention, strengthening and upgrading, and other measures, including intensified survey monitoring, usage restriction, emergency measures. Yeah, this is one type of the classification of the intervention, but we have other way. This also shows intervention options. Once we decide make an intervention, we have kind of the several options. Option one, something like a target structure performance will be better than original performance, or coming back to original performance. Well, you may not have to go back to original performance. Instead, you may choose a more durable way so that the service life can be achieved. Then also, to find out the appropriate intervention method, you have to understand why we need interventions. Then this is intervention principles, measures of concrete defects or deteriorations. This is one of the typical case, or steel corrosion, or structural restoration or strengthening, especially for the seismic damage case. Yes, we often have the strengthening. Then, once we know what kind of the purpose, why we need the intervention, then we can come up with some appropriate remedy and specific intervention methods, such as surface coating, crack injection, YFRP jacketing, or underlaying. Yeah, it depends on the purpose. Then one of the new thing in the intervention is this slide shows. This is some kind of the new concept of intervention. Usually intervention means one particular objectives or remedies. But having particular way of the intervention, using this particular case, carbon fiber net, it can be for strengthening purpose, but at the same time, cathodic protection. So this is providing some new concept of the intervention. Then how to select appropriate intervention method? In fact, reality is very, very complicated. Then what we suggest is based on deterioration mechanism. And this particular case is a case of the steel corrosion induced by the salt attack. Then also we suggesting what is the damage condition or damage level when you implement interventions. Then depending on the different damage level, this is rather small damage and this is rather big damage, then we can suggest different remedy or different corresponding intervention method. Then we come to the design of the intervention. Basically, design intervention can be the same as for new structures, but there is some differences. such as the material for intervention, it can be quite different from ordinary concrete or ordinary steel reinforcement. And also structural detailing can be quite different. For example, external bonding. We never have external bonding for new structures. And another thing is, yes, maybe you have to go next one. Yeah, this is what I mentioned, the different material property and the different in the structural detail. But at the same time, you should not forget durability or long-term performance of the material or system itself. And also another thing is compatibility. This is another important thing. Under the different moisture variation or temperature variation, those intervention materials should have good compatibility with the substrate concrete. Then I come to the execution. Yeah, execution is also quite complicated in comparison with the new structures, because your structure is already in service, meaning we have quite strict space limit restrictions and time restrictions. So you should have very good execution planning in advance. Then also another thing is some intervention material could be quite sensitive to some environmental conditions, such as moisture condition or temperature condition. Then another thing is to have the good integration. Yeah, we often use the external bonding. To have the good integrated structure performance, sometimes you need a pretreatment of the substrate concrete. This is also another importance. Then I come to the concluding remarks. The conservation, including intervention, is the main part of the life cycle management in terms of the period. But we still need more technological development, advancement, or intervention method, rational intervention method. At this moment, so many variety of intervention method. At least we should have more standardized intervention method. Then what we have done is the bulletin 100.02, 100.03. This is the main work of the TG 8.1 and also another TG 3.4, which I'm chairing at this moment. Yeah, we make a kind of the compendium of available intervention method at this moment. 100.02 is the durability-related intervention, 100.03 or mechanical or strengthening-related interventions. Then my TG 3.4, we are now preparing our first draft is almost ready to show what is the intervention in the model code 2020. And also we try to show something most recent advancement of the intervention technology, which I hope will come out by the end of this year. Then lastly, I want to say for the intervention, as engineers, like a decision making, to make a decision making, we should have some kind of the technical limit, criteria. Then we can say this is kind of damage limit, which provide you feasible intervention, technically feasible or economically feasible intervention. So also it depends on the intervention the category, proactive way or reactive way, then damage limit should be different. So the repairability or restorability, then corresponding damage limit state, it can be another concept of the limit state in the model code 2020, but I believe we still have some discussion to finalize this concept. I think that's it. Thank you very much.